and then just like zoom in for 10 seconds and hold, and then you can go back to us. Ready? All right, ladies, thank you so much for participating in this quick PD session. I'll only keep you for about 10 minutes. Mr. Stradley is supposed to be joining us, but we all know how school gets in the morning, so he should be here with us in just a few minutes. Excuse my voice, it's going in and out still. Y'all know last week I could barely talk. But what we're going to talk about today, just quickly kind of get some information from you and your thoughts and ideas on this, is Oxford Elementary is looking into student ownership of their learning for grades K through 4. And this is a project that I'm doing research on as part of my EBS program at Jacksonville State. And of course, you know, with every bit of research, you have to do a problem statement. And this problem statement came about from a conversation that I had with Dr. Vivanco last spring, serving as assistant principal here at Oxford Elementary School. And she said that in the elementary grades, all 3 of the sister elementary schools were not seeing the growth and progress of student ownership that they were seeing at the secondary level. And that got my wheels to turning, thinking, knowing that this class was coming up, is that because we, the teachers, have not had the professional development opportunities that maybe the secondary has had, or is this because of age and maturity of our kids? And so this is just some quick data that she sent to me, and I'll erase my 6-syllable types, guys, so y'all can see the data. All right, so looking at our data, we have setting goals, and this has been part of our Leaders of Their Own Learning book study that, you know, we've been doing this 4 or 5 years now. We're in our 5th year of implementation of Leaders of Their Own Learning in instructional rounds. So setting goals, we see that our young babies are fairly fluent, or, you know, they're fairly proficient in goal setting. Understanding their learning targets, we see that we still have some challenges with, because our students don't know to go back to those themselves and to utilize them as part of their structured learning. Monitoring their learning, sharing their data, monitoring their own behavior, we see that there's growth in that they're able to say that, you know, I'm not making choices that I should be making. And engaging and participation, we are seeing growth in that. But we see that understanding learning targets, monitoring their own learning, and sharing their data at student-led conferences is still appears to be a struggle for the elementary grades when you're looking at a comparison to secondary grades. And then this was some information that I got from Dr. Vivanco regarding Oxford Middle School and what their teachers and administrators say their proficiency levels are. So you see that with those older kids, the teachers are able to coach them through how to use those learning targets, how to identify when learning is breaking down, and then how to carry that over into making themselves more proficient in their learning. And then, of course, you know, with every research class, there's an abundance of research. All of our researchers are all the ones that I have researched, including going back to the book study of Leaders of Their Own Learning, says that every child from ages 4, preschool, through senior high school, and even at the post-secondary level, is able to monitor their own learning and able to take ownership in their own learning, but it will look very different at each level because of age and maturity of the child. And that is, I think that's where we are. I think that in our district, there's a vision of what student ownership should look like. And it's not differentiated for our itty bitties down in pre-K 3 to those seniors in high school. It's one vision, but there's no differentiation in that vision. And we know, as those of us who are in the classrooms, and even Mr. Spradley doing his observations, and Miss Livingston, having kids come in and conference with her, and then Miss Champion as a parent and also a paraprofessional, that our students are getting there, but it looks very different. I'm sure that when Ada comes home and talks to you about her learning, now it looks different than it did when she was in kindergarten. And so this is an action plan that has been created that we will do over time. There will be classroom observations, and this is to collect more evidence and to get us to where we need to be. There will be professional development, and this has been said that it's going to be differentiated, and y'all got that email last week that you have the opportunity, like we had back in the fall, to choose one session that you feel benefits you the most. And that way, if Fancher and I are struggling with writing learning targets, and Danielle's only issue is going back to those within her instruction, then Fancher and I can join the same session, and Danielle is released to go on to something that she's less proficient with as well. Okay, and then of course we have district CIP observations, our monthly data meetings, our grade level meetings, which it says weekly, we have those daily. And then the survey that was sent out where the data was actually collected from over the past few years, the analysis, and then to share that data with me to see if we are still seeing growth in the elementary levels. Okay, and then this is the part that's most important, and this is importance of anticipated findings. For our students at Oxford Elementary School, they will take ownership of their learning through the use of learning targets, student-led conferences, and active student engagement. And we know that those have been focuses for several years in our system. Do you guys think that that's actually where we need to go with this and continue to focus on learning targets, students explaining their learning, because if they can explain it, they're at 90% mastery or above, and then active student engagement? Or do you guys think as fourth grade teachers, there may be another lane that I haven't thought of that needs to be included in this research? Thoughts?
That's great.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
All right. Sounds good, because our focus will just be primarily fourth grade, because that's where we are. Mr. Spradley, Miss Livingston, Miss Champion, you guys, may want to share the love, spread the love a little bit into your lanes, but kind of where we are. And we know that even with the students that Miss Champion serve, they're able to show their learning, but it looks very different from our students showing their learning.
Different benchmarks.
And then for teachers, again, it gives us the opportunity to have that differentiated professional development, and for the district to provide for our needs as an individual instead of just a grade level or a school. We're able to get that differentiated instruction for us. And then another piece of that is that those professional development sessions, the coaching support that we'll get from Ms. Whaley and the instructional partners, as well as the progress made, is going to look very different from our pre-K3 through fourth grade. So is there anything that you guys feel like that maybe we need to include in this piece, more so than just professional development and coaching? Are there other resources out there that we could utilize to help our students in fourth grade? Because we are the highest level here at the school, to walk away and to move on to that fifth, sixth grade kind of middle school atmosphere with more proficiency in owning their learning.
I think we could add in the goal setting.
Okay, goal setting. Anything else? And then what do we do once they reach those goals? To show them how to monitor it, and then once I've reached my goals, then what are my next steps? Where do I go from here? Anybody else? Because see how Abby's thinking led to my thinking. Anybody else
I
want
just
to?
think as a district, we have to start to embrace the fact that it has to be, I mean, we talk so much about growth, and even there has to be the growth mindset with kids owning their own learning. I mean, it's what you've been saying the whole time. It looks a whole lot different in kindergarten than it does, for a senior in high school. But we should see those kids growing towards being able to explain their learning more and how it all connects. Just on a continuum. So, I don't think a fourth grader should be necessarily able to explain their learning quite as well as, my sophomore.
Right.
There should be a difference in my fifth graders and my sophomore student-led conference because of their maturity and because of the growth that they're showing in their learning.
Absolutely. And that's, again, where this stemmed from, was thinking, is there one vision that's not being differentiated based on age and maturity? Because all research says these kids have the ability to do this, of course, with our modeling and continued support, but it's going to look very different at each level. Any questions? All right, and I'll share this PowerPoint with you guys, and here are all the references that I used as part of my research. If y'all want to go back and read any of these articles as part of your Educate Alabama growth or indicator or school-wide indicator. All right. Thank you, everybody, for participating.